Let me ask you guys all a question. Where does your retirement account or your 401k, where does it stack up compared to where you should be at for your age? Most people, unfortunately, don't know that. They don't know where they should be according to their age or what they're set up to have when they retire, and if that's going to be enough. Because unfortunately, most people that go into retirement don't have enough. About a week ago, I posted an article, and it was about a hedge fund manager that is predicting a pretty devastating crash. He's predicting it's 80%, and he's not just any random guy. He actually predicted the 2019 crash pretty on par, and he made over 4,000% because of it. So typically, when a market crashes, there's two sides to it. There's those who lose everything or lose a lot, and then there's others who take advantage of it. They prepare for it, and they end up, you can become a millionaire from it, right? It's taking action ahead of time that helps you to be in that latter point to make money off of it, rather than what most people do is they wait, they don't do anything, the market crashes, they lose half their money, and then they freak out and pull everything out. Or they listen to their financial advisor that tells them just write it out, and now they're got to wait another 5, 6, 7 years just to get back to where they were at from day one. Well, it's very important to look at what you have, what you can do with it, because even if you can't technically pull out your 401k, or you can, but without penalty, pull it out and start utilizing it, there's other places you can move your money that are safer, that aren't going to lose money in it if the market drops. And you can still keep contributing to that variable account, but take that bulk out and put it in a safer account. So let's go back to how much you have. Doing research, I found the average 55 to 64-year-old has $272,320,000 in a retirement account. That's the average. The median account is 95,642. So it's almost 3 times less, right? The difference between the average and the median is the number that you really got to look at, because the average just takes an average of everything. So let's say you have 5 people, one person has 20,000, one person has 10, one has 30, and one has 25. And then you get the 5th person that comes in has $1 million. Well, if you add those up, divide them by 5, it comes out to about 270. Now, 270 is way higher than 10, 20, 25, or 30, right? But that $1 million person skewed those numbers. So that's why you don't want to use the average. If you use the median account, it takes all the numbers into it utilizes all of them correctly, right? And it gives you the actual average of what's a realistic number that most people have. So, but let's say you're doing good and you're one of those people that actually does have $272,000. Well, the financial advisor's 4% rule says if you have whatever amount of money you have to live off of that for the rest of your life, you can pull out 4% of it. 4% of 272,000 is 10,880. That's before a crash. If the market does crash, let's say it crashes by 50%, now it's 5,440. But even say the 10,880, can you live off of $10,880 a year for the rest of your life? Most people can't. That's less than $1,000 a month. And you got to remember, that's tax deferred money, so you still got to pay taxes on that later on. So that's my first point, is even the people that are doing good aren't doing good enough to live comfortably. So you want to be higher than that 272. That said, even if that's your 272 is all you have. Now let's say you move that into a fixed index annuity. A lot of these a lot of these carriers, they're fighting for your money, right? They want you to use them over the other 400 carriers out there. So a lot of the carriers I use have bonuses of 10, 20, up to 30% sometimes. So let's use a 20% bonus. Let's say you have $272,000 in your account and we roll it over to a carrier that has a 20% bonus. That 20% bonus will put you at $326,000. So if you're one of the people that's on par to retire right now, right? Or say you're going to retire next year. Well, now you have $326,000 and we do a GLEAR or guaranteed lifetime income rider. That's going to guarantee that you can pull out a certain amount of money until you die, regardless if you've already depleted the funds or not. On 326, I just round the numbers. It would, depending on what account you're in, it's anywhere from 19 to 21,000. So let's say you pull out 21,000 for 20 years. That's $420,000 off of that 326 that you had in there, which is really 272. And if the market's done good, say you still have 150,000 in there and you passed away at 80 years old. Well, that 150,000 would go to your beneficiaries as a death benefit. On the other end, let's say the market just tanks for the next 20 years and it doesn't do anything. You're still going to pull out that $21,000 for those 21 years. And let's say you pulled out 420, even though you only put 272 in there. That extra $150,000, even though the market didn't make it up, because of that GLEAR, you still get that money until you pass away. And you'll run out of money. Well, you'll never run out of money. Your beneficiaries won't get a death benefit, but you'll continue to get money until the day you die. Let's say you're my age and you have that 272 in there. We roll it into an account that has a 20% bonus. Now it has 320. Now it has 326. Let's say you're going to work for another 20 years, and using the rule of 72, we're averaging, let's even go low, let's say 7%, right? So it's doubling every 10 years. Well, that 326 will turn into 652 in 10 years. And then in another 10 years, it turn into 1.3 million. Now that GLEAR on that would be 4 times the amount. So now you're able to pull out 84,000 for the rest of your life. And if you would have kept it in a 401k, you wouldn't know whether you were going to be able to pull out that $10,000 a year, or if the market was going to tank and you're only able to pull out 5,000. If you want to look at what we can do for you, I'll put a link to schedule with me below. You can just DM me. A lot of you have my phone number, my email. Just email or reach out to me some way. I'll put a link to get in contact with me below.